What is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe, and welcome to the exciting exercise-specific conditioning sessions, part 4, where we're going to be talking about the deadlift. Now, the deadlift is obviously going to be a fun one to do in this series because there's a big compound movement that arguably is not as complex as a squat because you don't need to walk it out, you don't have a descent. Pretty much as long as your breathing and bracing is on point, then you can do this relatively safely and dig in pretty deep, so it should be a good time. Now, if you have questions about breathing and bracing or pretty much anything else deadlift related, make sure you check the description box down below because I will have all the timestamps for this video as well as all of the related links that have to do with this, which brings me to my next point, which is if you are a return customer to this series, then go down to that timestamp area and jump forward to where I actually start talking about the actual exercises, because right now I need to explain to everyone else what's going on, which if you're watching should mean that you are brand new and this is your first exercise-specific conditioning session video in this 4-part series. This is actually the last one covering the deadlift. The first one was the bench, second was the squat, then we did the overhead press, which brings us up to date. Now, the reason why this series exists at all is because nothing is worse than when you go in for your strength session and you find that your legs or your back or whatever is still a little bit tired and exhausted from a previous conditioning session. And that is not conducive to dropping body fat, getting mass, getting strength, any of that. So what I decided that I do is at the end of the main strength day, I would just throw in similar exercises. So today's exercise-specific conditioning sessions are for the deadlift, meaning that all the exercises are going to be either deadlift related or working on a weak point of the deadlift or working the same muscles that you would be working on that day anyway. This way nothing bleeds into anything else and your strength is not affected. Also important to note here is that each session is going to be short and intense. Nothing is going to be longer than 10 minutes and is going to be placed at the end of your strength work, because if you do it beforehand, you're going to be wrecked, all right? You are going to get the opportunity to do a lot of extra reps and sets and just working the weak point of your main lift. So this is a great opportunity to not only work your technique where you're either ingraining good reps or you're ingraining bad reps, but there is a great opportunity to not only gain mass, strength, work the weak points, get stronger while hopefully these deadlifts are dropping body fat and giving you abs. But yeah, guys, that is the basic idea, and I have 5 workouts for you today. The first of which is going to be just about as simple as possible. I end up using this one a lot, almost as volume work. What I do is I load a bar with 70% of my 1 rep maximum deadlift or whatever variation I choose to use that day. After that, it gets pretty simple. I just perform 7 deadlifts at 70%, followed by 7 burpee lateral jumps immediately following those deadlifts, and I do it for 7 rounds. Now, ideally, I would be able to get this done within 7 minutes. However, that is moving pretty quick. The idea here being like 7, 7, 7, 7. But if 70% feels a little heavy for you, you can always drop the percentage. Remember, we're trying to ingrain good reps here, not bad reps. If you're using bad form, you're doing the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. But yeah, you're gonna be shocked because the breathing pattern that you use when breathing and bracing on the deadlift is completely different from those burpee lateral jumps. And if you have put a belt on and off, it just gets, it's gonna be harder than you think. Go ahead, give it a shot. 7 deadlifts at 70%, 7 burpee lateral jumps, 7 rounds in 7 minutes. Yeah. And the second exercise-specific conditioning session for the deadlift is gonna be just as simple. For this one, I would load that bar with nothing more than probably 45 to 65% of your 1 rep maximum of whatever variation you are going to use for this. Now, as with every other workout in this entire series, you're probably gonna need a clock here because once that thing starts, in minute 1, you have to perform 2 deadlifts. Now, with that remainder of the minute, you can either choose to stand around or you could drop into something like a plank position or whatever core exercise makes you happy. But when minute 2 rolls around, now you have 4 deadlifts to complete and the remainder of the minute either to rest or drop in a plank position. Big minute 3 rolls around and now you have 6 reps. So all that you're doing is adding 2 reps every single minute, continuing the pattern, getting as far as you can. Now, this is going to start out extremely easy, just like so many of these challenges. However, by the end of 10 minutes, it is brutally, brutally hard because you have to think, you're starting out with 2 reps, and let's say you're doing it with 135 pounds. Start with 2 reps and you're like, yeah, that's no problem at all. When you get to minute 6, that means in that 60 seconds, you have to perform 12 reps and then you have a small amount of time to rest before the next minute comes up where you have 14 reps and then 16 reps and then 18 and 20 reps. So if you get to 10 minutes, you're performing 20 reps in that minute, followed by all of that compounded number of reps. It would be a ridiculous amount of time. If you guys make it to 7 minutes, 8 minutes, even 9 minutes, you're doing a really, really good thing. Now, again, remember, form over just getting things done here. You're not trying to get through it. You are trying to work the weak points of your lift as well as your technique. So make sure you're ingraining good reps and not bad reps. The third exercise-specific conditioning session for the deadlift, we're gonna break up this 10 minutes into two different sections, your odd minutes and your even minutes. Now, on your odd minutes, we're gonna treat this very, very much like a strongman competition, because a regular event in a strongman competition is where you load a bar with about 80 to 85% of your 1 rep max, and then you go as many reps as possible in 60 seconds. That is for a competition, and you only have to do it one time. Now, since this is conditioning, obviously, we need to lower that percentage a good bit. And where you want to go with that percentage is greatly going to be determined by what you want to do during this conditioning, and I can't answer that for you. So once that first minute of your 10 minutes starts, you're gonna perform as many reps as possible in that first minute. Now, once that second minute comes around, you are going to rest. Now, again, much like the last example, on your even minutes when you're resting, you can either choose to stand around and consider your life choices and think about your form and what went well and what went wrong, or you can drop into a plank position, do another exercise, pull-ups, core exercises, anything can be thrown into that even minute if you don't choose to just stand around and rest. But every single time an odd minute does come up, you are going as many reps as possible in that minute. Now, if you are a strongman do whatever it takes to get that weight up. We are allowed to use straps. We are allowed to ramp the weight up. You can hitch the weight. You can do whatever you want as long as the weight goes from point A to point B. You can do touch and go reps, knock yourself out. If you're more powerlifting based, then I would highly recommend you do stop and go reps where you actually stop, reset every single time, just like you would in a competition. Remember, you are practicing the way that you play, so I would highly encourage whatever your focus is, whatever your goals are, you move more towards that area. If you're gonna go the powerlifting approach and reset every single rep, I would probably choose to go a little bit heavier just because you are naturally gonna be taking more rest. If you're going to go the strongman approach and you're probably going touch and go, you're just trying to rip through this, get as many reps as you possibly can, then I go a little bit lighter because most likely your reps are gonna get really ugly, and we wanna keep you as safe as possible. But going 1 rep, max effort work, followed by 1 minute of rest or 1 minute of a plank, you're gonna be shocked at what that's gonna do to beat you up. Which brings us to exercise-specific conditioning session number 4, and this one is gonna test your grip, it's gonna test your lower back, it's gonna test your soul. Basically, you have 10 minutes, and each minute is gonna be broken up into 20-minute sections. So you're gonna have 1 barbell for this, and it's gonna be loaded with the same weight no matter what. For this, I would probably go with something lower than 50% of your 1 rep maximum. Somewhere in between 35% and 45% is probably where you're gonna be living. But as usual, grab that barbell and get in front of a running clock. Now, your first 20 seconds of that first minute, you're gonna do as many snatch grip deadlifts as possible. As soon as that 20 seconds is done, I want you to move on to either stiff-legged deadlifts or Romanian deadlifts, whichever you like better. But then when you move on to the third 20 seconds of your minute, all you're going to do is rest, and this rest, I actually just want you standing around. Now, once you feel great and recovered after that 20 seconds, your second minute is going to start, and again, you're gonna break it up into 20-second sections. Your first 20 seconds is going to be as many sumo deadlifts as you could possibly do. These second 20 seconds, you're gonna fill up with as many conventional deadlifts as you can possibly do, and then your third 20 seconds, again, is going to be nothing but rest. So you're gonna have 1 minute that is broken up between snatch grip deadlifts and Romanian deadlifts or stiff-legged deadlifts, and then you're gonna get to rest 20 seconds, followed by your next minute, which is gonna be sumo deadlifts, conventional deadlifts, and 20 seconds rest. Now, absolutely feel free to use whatever variations are gonna best fit the weak points of your deadlift here. You don't need to stick to the examples that I gave. However, you are gonna get the opportunity to really transition between different hip positions, different back positions, different locking in positions with your lats. So you're gonna get to work on a ton of different cues, as well as muscle-mind connection in a bunch of different ranges, and all of which are going to be building the muscles of which build your deadlift. Your grip is also going to get extremely taxed, so I would highly recommend that you have some straps nearby so you don't need to take a bunch of time to go get them out of your bag. Other than that, this is going to be a tough one. So basically, in order to get through those 4 variations with those 2 rest periods, that is going to give you a 2-minute block, so you do that 5 times and you have 10 minutes of conditioning done. And the final exercise-specific conditioning session that we're gonna talk about is going to be a deck of cards for nothing but the deadlift. Now, if you've been a fan of the channel for any amount of time, you'll have heard me talk about the deck of cards workout plenty of times. I think it started in prison, but the basic idea is that you grab each suit of a deck of cards and you apply some sort of exercise to it. So let's say hearts are going to be pull-ups and your spades are going to be push-ups, and your sit-ups are going to be diamonds, whatever the case may be, okay? So the idea is that whenever you draw a card, the corresponding number on the card is how many reps you need to do of the exercise. So if you grab a 4 of hearts, now you have 4 pull-ups to do. In this scenario, the face cards are going to equal 10 reps and aces are going to equal 11. But if you guys did want to tick up more and more reps, you can absolutely do that, but it's going to depend on what exercises you choose to do. But the whole idea here is that we take those 4 exercises or those 4 suits and we just grab exercises that are going to deal with the deadlift. So for instance, in this example, the hearts are going to be bent over rows because bent over rows are such a strong assistance exercise for your deadlift. For another one of the suits, you may want to choose something hamstring related, whether it be a glute ham raise or a stiff-legged deadlift or anything. Just think about the things that you need to work on the deadlift and apply that exercise to that suit. For another suit, you might want to choose an exercise that is good for cueing, like a pull-up or a straight arm lat pull down, something that gets you locking your lats in on the deadlift or strengthening it. Now, immediately people always want to know, well, how many cards do I do? And it's called the deck of cards workout, so the deck. However, since these are only 10-minute long conditioning sessions, I say you set a clock at 10 minutes and then you cut it when you've reached that point. However, if you did want to know, the deck of cards conditioning workout is something that we do at my gym all of the time with a big class on Saturday mornings where a ton of people are doing it, and we regularly get an entire deck done in about 20 to 25 minutes depending on the exercises. So there's absolutely no reason, if you have a little bit extra time, that you can't get through a couple extra cards. But when you are doing it, if you are only going for 10 minutes, be sprinting. Flip a card, get it done. Get back to your card, flip a card, get it done, get back to your card. Remember, conditioning is also supposed to work your lungs. All right, so yep, guys, this is absolutely it. This is the last video in this series of the exercise-specific conditioning sessions. It's been a lot of fun, guys. I hope you guys walked away with a couple ideas or at least some time templates that you can use moving forward in your training. If this stuff was useful, please use it. If it wasn't, please discard it. It makes no difference to me. I hold no personal things with this. If it helps, I'm happy. Share, subscribe, do all those things. If it didn't help, go ahead and punch yourself in the face. It's gonna be okay. Thank you guys for absolutely everything you guys do to help support me, between buying the personalized programs, to these shirts, to watching the videos, everything. There's absolutely no way that I could do what I do every single day if it were not for the support of each and every single one of you. So I truly do want to say thank you, and I truly do mean it. I got out 3 videos last week, pretty stoked about that, so I'm going to try hard to stay on a good streak of putting videos out, so hopefully I will catch up with you guys before the end of the week. Until I do, go out and do something amazing with your lives. Keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then.